Well, I think they need a pitching defense speed team. And I think we saw a little bit of that with Toronto, at least, a little bit of running the bases first to third and putting the ball in play. But to win in that ballpark, you have got to do one thing first, and that's pitch. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to say, all right, where do we start with this thing to give Vitello a team that he can identify with? I got to start with the pitching in that ballpark. And they've got Webb, who Cy Young candidate. I thought he had a great season. Ray, who fell apart a little bit at the end, which is a little bit of a red flag for me. He's Robbie Ray. He's not Madison Bumgarner. He's not. He's Robbie Ray. You get what you get. And after that, you got Landon Roop, who's, more famous for fighting a bear than anything else accomplished in the big leagues. We love him. He's been on the show with us, but I love him. But, he's got to show me he can pitch, 150, 180 innings. And then they got nothing after that. So if you're starting this Giants team right now, I think you got to concentrate on the pitching.
Absolutely. And, how are they going to do that? Are they going to free agent? Are they going to trade? I mean, when you go free agency, yeah, there may be some guys out there that are under that $100 million. But then again, if you're going to pay for a guy who's under $100 million, well, you're going to get that type of player. And it's not going to be, maybe he's good, maybe he's not. Those guys who are commanding those 9-figure digits, those are your better pitchers. And I think the Giants need one of those better pitchers. How are they going to get that? I don't know. And of course, not to miss the bullpen. The bullpen also, you're going to have to get a closer as well. So to your point about what you're saying about the organization, Buster Posey has said it many a times, right? Pitching and defense, that's his, and timely hitting. And that's kind of what the Giants were doing in the beginning of the season. And even through, if you want to even say through the All-Star break, the pitching was incredible. I mean, they were in the top 5, a lot of the time in the top 3 in ERA. So they were doing great in preventing the runs coming across. They were just having struggles scoring enough runs to win the game. So, yeah, I'm guessing pitching is going to be the focus, and we're just going to have to see how Buster Posey is going to navigate this.
Well, they got to get one guy. They have to get a third guy. And now Verlander eventually became the third guy and was very good. The last 6 weeks, he was very good. The last 6 weeks of the season, they need a third guy. And then you can worry about Tidwell and Seymour and McDonald and Wisenhunt and, can have Roop as the fourth guy. Then, you worry about the fifth guy. They need the third guy. And it's not from within. I don't think it's Birdsong. And I just don't, as much as the new pitching coach is a great communicator, came from the Pirates, came from the Brewers. Quite frankly, the Pirates, Paul Skeens was okay, and they had some pitchers, but, give me 5 Pirate pitchers in the last 10 years, if you can. So I think they have to go out and get somebody, and I'll go to the list. If I had to pick somebody on the list, I want Ranger Suarez.
Yeah. I like him.
I want Ranger Suarez. I think money-wise, he's not going to be crazy. And I think the guy knows how to pitch, and he's left-handed, and I like him.
You need to get a lefty in there, right? To get Shohei and Freeman, and you're going to have that lefty in there, and I like that.
Yeah. So what were they doing last year? What was the philosophy? What were they trying to do? They just like you said, everybody said, they got to have a team with good pitching and good defense. The pitching fell apart. They didn't hit at all. And then their defense wasn't that good, especially in the outfield.
Well, Jeff, what was your biggest surprise last year coming out of spring training and how it ended up?
Yeah, I think a couple of pitching surprises. One, Justin Verlander being as good. He had a really rough start. The first 4 months weren't that great, but when you look at his stats in aggregate, he had good numbers. He pitched 150-plus innings. He had a 3.85 ERA or something in that neighborhood. And then Robbie Ray being as good as he was, I wasn't expecting that either. If you look at his career numbers, he can be very good some years. He can also be, a back end rotation arm, and with what they're paying him, they really need him to be more of the guy he was in the first half last year. So those were a couple of the surprises. Randy Rodriguez also becoming an all-star pitcher. I think the stuff was always there. There was never a question about that, but the command and control was left a little bit to be desired, but that wasn't an issue at all in 2025 before he went down with injury. So those three kind of stand out as the biggest surprises for me.
Yeah, for me, coming out of spring training, and we all were down there at some point, I thought the pitching was really deep. Yeah, how are we going to get enough starts for everybody? It's 7 or 8 deep. And then it just completely blew up. I mean, Roop was fine, and then he got hurt. Birdsong, forget it. I mean, who knows if he's going to have a major league career. He looked terrific. Yeah. And Wisenhunt never really got out of the blocks. He was always hurt, something up with him. Keaton Wynn, God, what a lost year that was for him. Carson Seymour, a lost year for him. That to me was the shocking part. So that's what they have to avoid that this year. And that's why I think the one free agent, whether it's going to be King or Ranger Suarez or Gallen or Framber Valdez or some, I don't think it's Dylan Cease. I don't think they want to get involved with him. But it's got to be somebody who can walk in here and then roll the dice with the other guys, but don't rely on them. And I think that was the biggest mistake from last year.
Yeah, Buster Posey said that they were relying on the young arms, and he kind of said that too. Now, I don't mind relying them on as depth. You got them in AAA. You're going to need a lot of pitchers in an entire season. So you got those guys that could come up, whether it's Kai Tang and Wynn or Birdsong, Seymour. If you got to have them come up and have some spot starts here and there, I get it. That makes sense. But you got to have a legitimate rotation, right? Webb and Ray, your number 3. Maybe the number 3 is going to end up being a number 2. Who knows? And you got Roop, and I'm okay with Roop. And then you got to have that number 5. So, yeah, I mean.
Well, I'll give you another one. And then I know they want to surround Tony with, things that make him comfortable, which they're doing. I think he had a lot to say about the Toronto hitting coach coming over. I think he had a lot to say about Tingler, obviously, coming over. I don't know what his input was with the pitching coach, but I guarantee you he had input there. They didn't just pick this guy out of the air who we never heard of. But for me, looking at Scherzer and seeing Scherzer out there and knowing that they want to make this soft landing for Tony as much as they can, do you think they get involved with Scherzer?
Wow. Well, are they going to bring Verlander back?
I'd rather have Verlander. I'd rather have Verlander.
Yeah.
Do they need 240 and over pitchers? I don't know about that.
No, Verlander's no. He I don't think he wants a comeback. What does he want to be here for? I mean, the guy actually, if he was on a decent team, could have won 16 games last year and could be, actually talking about 300. But what about Scherzer?
There's a strong connection there. Hard to ignore with the Tony Vitello, Max Scherzer connection. But can he help the Giants? I mean, he was great in that in that Game 7 start that he had against the Dodgers. But overall, I mean, the past couple of years, he hasn't been nearly as sharp, and he's in his 40s. I think the Giants, they signed Verlander last year, so there's a template for this to signing a veteran pitcher of that caliber. But I don't know. It'd be hard for me to look at this rotation. You'd have to add somebody else in addition to Scherzer. But it'd be hard for me to look at this rotation and say, like, yes, this is the strength. This is how they're going to win games if Scherzer's in the rotation. Nothing against. He's just not the same pitcher he once was.
No, but Tony V must win the clubhouse.
Yeah.
You see, he must win. The little thing I read, the guys have to like him. Devers has to, all right, Tony V, I hear you. Go Vols. I'm with you, he's got to win the clubhouse, and part of the lure of him, he's an opposite of Posey, and he's an aggressive, upbeat kind of guy. And again, let's see what kind of a team he has to see how he can manage it. But here, George Corey, Eric, you can read this. What his name is? I can't even get his name.
Yeah, George Corey. Yeah, he's good. He's
Make him a pitching coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the deal. You bring Scherzer in, and now he's the veteran with Logan Webb, who's buying into Vitello. I guarantee you, Logan Webb's like a football player. He loves it, I'm sure. And Ray is just happy to be here. You know that. So Scherzer actually comes in and maybe is the guy who talks the bird song and the rest of them.